Hello everyone, my name is Walid Jumblatt Abdullah. I am an associate professor from the Public Policy and Global Affairs program at NTU. And in this short introductory lecture, I hope I aim to share with you, give you a teaser about what our program is about. This is just a short lecture. Please come to our open house, our booths. There will be lectures as well where we get to expand and tell you what we are about, and we will take questions as well. So this is really just to give you a taste of what we do at PPGA. And the first, and allow me to start with a couple of teaser questions. The first one is, this is a puzzle, right? Or maybe for people who do not follow politics closely, who just follow popular media, this is definitely a question that people ask, and everyone should be asking, why did Trump win in 2024? And if you read enough of mainstream media before and after, or if you follow online pages, you know that a lot of people will say, oh, this is because Americans are racist, right? They couldn't vote for a black woman, or they are misogynistic. Some people would say, oh, Americans, look at them, they are so stupid, so uneducated, so ill-informed, that's why they vote for someone like Trump, right? Or is it both? Or is it none of the above? Now, someone who is accustomed to following what mainstream media or mainstream social media even says, they will say, oh, probably it's either A, B, or C. But a deeper dive into the data would show that that is not the picture at all. Of course, there is racism involved. Of course, there is misogyny involved. But that doesn't explain much, because most of the Latino men and women who voted for Trump, especially Latino men, they voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. So that doesn't explain the misogyny angle. That doesn't explain they voted for Trump. That means they're stupid. So were they stupid when they voted for Hillary? So there is clearly something deeper there. What is it? And this is the sort of question, the deeper introspection that we do in public policy and global affairs. So I won't give the answer as of yet. Of course, to get to know the answer, come and major in PPGA, or at least come to our open house. Next question is a question that I will answer. So a lot of Singaporeans always ask me this, always tell me this. They believe that voting in Singapore is not secret, in the sense that the government will never know who we voted for. So a lot of people would say yes. So what's your answer? Some people would say no. Some people would say sure. Some people say, oh, I'm too scared to say, right? And having observed this, and having been a political scientist who works on Singapore politics, who studies the process from the start till the incineration of the vote, I can tell you that with absolute certainty, 100%, that voting in Singapore is absolutely secret, 100%. Yeah, there seems to be a sizable number of Singaporeans. I don't know how many exactly. There are not surveys on this, but there is, just from anecdotal data, a number of Singaporeans who believe that voting is not secret. Why? Okay. And that is something, it's not the answer, because objectively the answer is 100% yes. But perhaps what is more interesting, why do some people think it's not? And those are the sorts of questions that point towards bigger political trends, right? Both domestically and internationally. And these are just two of the many questions we discuss tangentially or directly in our classes, in our major. And that's really just to give you a teaser, right? So what exactly is public policy and global affairs? Well, it is the equivalent of political science departments elsewhere. For us, each department does it differently. For us, our program, we mesh the theory with the empirical, the real world as much as we can, because for us, theory is only relevant insofar as it explains the real world. So there are four facets to political science: international relations, which studies relationships between countries, why wars happen, why wars do not happen; international institutions and their efficacy, such as the United Nations, NATO, ASEAN, European Union, and so on. So that's the first facet. There are four subfields to political science of PPGA. Next one would be comparative politics, where you study domestic politics, but you compare them across systems in order to learn from each other, in order to get a more generalizable theory that can explain a few cases. For instance, Singapore politics, you study and you see why has the PAP been able to be in power since independence, and even before that, but since independence. Whereas UMNO in Malaysia was in power since Malaysia's independence in 1957, but it went out of power in 2018. Not completely, of course, but it was voted out in 2018 in the significant election. So why has one party been able to maintain its one-party dominant rule, whereas the other hasn't, even though the institutions in the two countries are similar? And of course, we compare across Japan and America and so on. This is comparative politics. We are really studying the world, domestic politics, comparing them across countries in the world. The third is political theory. So we ask the big questions in life, right? The more philosophical questions in politics. For instance, if you think about how much should just think of a very simple example in the real world. You go around Singapore, you go around our HDB estates or private estates, there is no shortage of CCTV cameras, closed circuit television cameras. There is no shortage of it. And in fact, sometimes citizens ask for more because they feel it makes them safe. So that is about the CCTV cameras are about a person's security. Right? But would someone say that it is a violation of their freedom, their right to privacy? So philosophically, we need to tackle the question, is there a trade-off between freedom and security? What is the level of trade-off that is worth it? That's just one example of a question, a big question, a seemingly philosophical question, but it has extremely real-life implications. So that's political theory. And the third would be public administration, where we study the implementation, the formulation, implementation, and execution of public policy. For instance, we have a public policy such as POFMA, right? The anti-fake news law in Singapore. How do we implement it? What is the best way to achieve the most equitable, the most just, and the most efficient outcomes? Those are the sorts of questions, issues that we discuss in public policy and global affairs. Well, if you look at our syllabus online, and you would know that there are 5 compulsory modules, 5 core courses for PPGA, and that would be introduction to each of the 4 subfields. Fundamentals of Politics is essentially introduction to comparative politics. And you have politics of Singapore, because as Singaporeans or students who are not Singaporeans but studying in Singapore, extremely crucial that you understand the zeitgeist, the political cultural zeitgeist of Singapore, the realpolitik, and also the values which underpin Singapore's political system. Now, our students, we always encourage, and it is the School of Social Sciences motto for us to be, not motto, but the traits of our identity, that we are empathetic, we are compassionate, we are socially conscious. So our students are always involved in in putting what they learn in class to real world use. So that's why they're always involved in activities. Our students have organized the Triple S Forum, led by PPGA students, where we had the Senior Minister of State for Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Minister of National Development, Ms. Sim Ann. She came over and talked about foreign policy and Singapore's place in the international system. A few years ago, the president of the PPGA subclub and the PPGA subclub, just before POFMA was passed, the fake news law I was talking about, got the leader of the opposition, Pritam Singh, and at that point in time, he wasn't full minister yet. I believe he was SMS, Mr. Edwin Tong. They came down and they had a lively discussion about POFMA and how it should be implemented, whether it should be implemented. So these are student-led, student-organized activities, but also in classroom. So that's outside classroom. But in classroom, we have guest lectures all the time. So myself, I These are just three of the guest lectures I have done. I do one every semester. I'll get somebody from quote unquote the industry, whether it's an academic involved in policy discussions, or whether it's a civil servant, a politician, a former politician, and so on. And you can see here in my slide, I have Professor Yaakob Ibrahim, the former Minister of Communication and Information. Now the ministry is called MDDI. We have Ms. Chua Mui Hong, who was formerly, still is, with the Straits Times. You have Dr. Hanan, the Deputy Mufti of Singapore. The Mufti is the highest Islamic religious authority in Singapore. So I called them for different classes based on the guest lecture, based on the topic for that particular week in that particular module. So it's been, you don't even have to go out of classroom, right? It's been an enriching experience for our students because we bring the guest lecturers to you, right? And my colleagues do this as well. But PPGA is also within the School of Social Sciences. So in the School of Social Sciences, as I said, we pride ourselves in our students being socially conscious. So we have our students organizing the welfare day for our appreciation day for the custodians, the cleaners in our school. We have a sports day between professors and students. And we have many other activities. Both the Triple S Club and the PPGA Sub Club, they are extremely active. So, and we encourage our students to be so because life in university is, the classroom is extremely important. I'm not going to say classroom learning is not important, grades do not matter. They do matter, but they are not the only things that matter. We want a holistic experience. And you can just take a look at our socials. I'll just end off with saying that to complement this lecture, you should take a look at the lecture I gave on the School of Social Sciences as well. And over there, I highlight how our faculty and our students are cited, the publications our faculty, our professors produce, and how we are cited in the media as well, which speaks to the reputation that our colleagues have. And in PPGA specifically, you have world-renowned professors who work on things in our field, subjects in our field, and we are recognized as world experts on those. I myself work on Singapore and Malaysian politics. My colleague, Professor Duncan Makago, works on Thai politics. Other professors work on political theory, international relations, other facets of comparative politics, and all. You don't have to take my word for it. Just Google any and all of us on Google Scholar, and you can take a look at the list of publications that we have produced. Also, you can Google us and see how many times we are mentioned in the media, and that speaks to a recognition of our expertise by the media as well. So that's all I have in this very short lecture. I hope to see you all at our open house. Thank you.